Hi, I'm Steven.
I'm Melissa. We started this journey in 2018, probably. We began praying about foster care. I grew up in foster care and was adopted, and we knew that it was going to be part of our story. We just didn't know how. And I told Steven that's what we were going to do, and he said no. And I said, well, God asked us to, and so I know that one day he's going to tell you the same thing he told me. And he did, and in 2019, we were licensed for just under 24 hours, and we got two beautiful sibling boys that we hope are part of our forever family. So we called High Sky and said, we're looking to foster. We want to know what to do next. And it was within 24 hours they called us and said, okay, you come to this, and we're going to interview you, and there's these classes. And we got the ball rolling, and it moved relatively quickly. Maybe 6 months later, and we were a licensed foster home. We did our home study and all the CPR and things, and it was a very quick process.
In the initial, I said no. And looking back on it, it was simply out of a place of fear. I was afraid of what it could mean to have people in my home that I didn't know. Opening up our house and subjecting our son to people we may not know or know where they came from or what was going on with them. And so it took a lot of prayer, a lot of prompting from Melissa to know that that's where we needed to be. Like she said, it was something that God gave her and that I had to really work through. But looking back, it was just out of my own selfishness that I didn't want to say yes.
So my parents were foster parents. They fostered somewhere around 35 kids, and I was one of their last, and one of the only ones that got to stay. Most of theirs were reunified, which was beautiful, and my siblings got to see that, and I was adoptable pretty quickly, and God asked them to adopt me, and so they closed their home, adopted me, and I just always knew it was part of my story and the reason that I had a family, and I wanted to give back and do the same. I think if it's on your mind, it's there for a reason, that you need to start the conversation. I hear from women all the time, well, my husband would never go for that. And I think if I had settled there, we wouldn't, have the gift of the two children that God's given us. That if I hadn't pursued that calling, there was two children that needed a mom and a dad and wouldn't have had one.
The thing is, so many of these kids have so much on their plate that they never asked for. And we, especially out here in this area, we're extremely blessed to live in this region, to do what we do, and the kind of money and resources that are in Midland, we can all do something. I'm not saying that every house is a foster house that you take in kids, but there's something you can do for this process. Every last one of us can. You can help out, volunteer, just encourage people. And the thing is, once you get past the not being sure whether you can or not, because you can do this. And these kids don't need super parents, they just need somebody to say yes to them, so they don't get a lifetime full of no's and closed doors. Just one open door to say yes and to take care of them and love them like we were loved as kids. And it's an incredible thing if you'll get past that initial no and just jump into it. The older of the two boys that we have, he didn't want to talk to us. Because he didn't talk. He didn't have words, he didn't speak. He made some noises, but that was about it. He really didn't have a lot of social skills where he could tell us what he wanted. He could cry and he could sleep, and that was pretty much all he wanted to do. But now, the trick is getting him to be quiet or to go to sleep or to lay down. He doesn't do that anymore. He's just an absolute personality, probably the biggest one in our house. And so it just took some time. It took a lot of time, and it happened on his time, but he's blossomed into this person that's just a larger than life personality, and he's so much fun. And so it's just night and day from where he started. High Sky Children's Ranch is excellent because they fill the gap between where kids are that need help and getting them the help they need. Part of me getting past the no came from our son. We asked him, we said, hey.
We were driving.
Yeah.
He saw a homeless man on the side of the road, and he said, we don't ever stop and help them. And I said, well, we give to organizations that do help them. That's where a lot of our tithe goes. That's where our giving goes. And I said, you know, there's some things they can do to help themselves. And he said, what about kids? And I was like, wait, what? And he said, Mom, kids don't have a choice. And I went home and I was like, that's it. He's right. Kids don't have a choice. And if his heart can understand it, we can do the rest.
Yeah. He was an only child for 5 years, and just overnight flip a switch, best big brother in the entire world. Like he cares for those boys in a way it's undescribable. I can't imagine it. It's the same way that I love my brother, and we grew up together. And it was from the minute they hit the door, he was ready for anything, and he loves them with his whole heart and defends them as if they were his own blood, and they're his family. And there was never a question for him of whether or not he was gonna love them. It was just how much of his love they were gonna take. So
we've always said, you know, if God called us to this, he called our family, and that includes our son. And so when we had the calling to foster, we knew that included him. And we've told him from day one, if we're broken, we can always be put back together. And this may break us, but we'll put ourselves back together and we'll do it again because that's what we've been asked to do.